Hello and welcome to another tips and tricks. Now today I would like to do a tutorial on how to build a highway interchange. This particular interchange is the Turbine highway interchange. Now as you can see, this particular interchange type looks very nice, and that's probably its main highlight. It also has very high capacity, although it's probably not the highest capacity interchange you can ever build. But as I said, the reason why you might want to build this particular interchange in your city is probably because it looks very nice. So I'm going to do a tutorial today. I'm going to show you exactly how you can build one for yourself. Now before we start, I'm going to tell you the mods that I'm going to use. First, I'm going to use the Road Anarchy mod. You can use, for example, the Fine Road Anarchy. And then I'm going to be using the Move It mod to have greater controls over heights. Then Fine Road Tools, but those are not that necessary. It's just a helpful tool to have greater control over roads, over the types of roads you're going to place. And then Traffic Manager President Edition to have greater control over lane connections. These two last mods are not that necessary, but very recommended. You could also try to build this in vanilla City Skylines, but it would probably take you a long time and it would definitely be very frustrating and maybe even not look that great. Alright, so we can go right into the tutorial itself. I'm going to destroy this interchange that I built here, and I'm going to build it again exactly like this, so you can see the entire process for yourself. Alright, so from the previous shot of the turbine interchange, you could see that the turbine interchange comprised of like 4 half circles. So that's exactly what we want to create first. Let's go. I'm going to take just a normal 2-lane road, and I'm going to do some measurements first. Now, your interchange might be bigger or smaller. I'm going to create it so that it exactly corresponds to the interchange that I had here. Also, your highways might not share this angle between them. They might have 90 degrees between them. They might be perfectly perpendicular, but this is actually kind of slightly harder to do. So let's go. First, I want to go to this view, and I want to hover the mouse and click on the road, on the elevated road, exactly where it goes over that highway. Now, in here, I'm going to measure 20 units. And again, you might do more than 20 or less than 20, depending on how big your interchange might be in the future, or after it's completed. Now, 20 units there. And from that point that I measured, I'm going to create a 90-degree perpendicular road. I'm going to do that exact same thing here, and connect them. Again, perpendicular to the highway. Now, what I did here is if I'm going to do this, then this road that I might create is going to have the exact angle between that highway and that highway. Obviously, if these two highways had 90 degrees between them, if they were perpendicular, then this road would be built at 45 degrees. But since I don't know the angle between these two highways, I have to measure it like that. And I can see that half of that angle, which I want to know, is approximately 55.1 degrees. Oh, I completely forgot. You have to have precision engineering installed for this, for viewing these angles. Now, 55.1. So, I'm going to create road that's 20 units long, and I'm going to try to get 55.1 degree angle. There we go. It doesn't need to be completely precise, but obviously, it's better to be precise. Now I'm going to create the first of those half circles like this. So 20 units, 90 degrees, and again, 20 units like that, 90 degrees, 20 units, just like that. And that is the first of the half circle we can now get rid of. this kind of a helping road. I'm going to keep this one in case we need it in the future, but this is the first step. Now, this half circle road, we need to build that for all the other corners of the interchange, so 3 more times. Let's go. Now in here, since I already built this road on the other side, I know that I need to create 55.1 degree angle in here as well. Again, what I'm doing here is not exactly precise, but it doesn't really need to be anyway. So I don't need to do those 20 unit measurements on both sides, but just create 55.1 angles straight away without doing any measurements, like this. This is actually a good sign that it wanted to create an intersection there, because it tells me that I am being kind of precise. Alright, so this is it. We have those half circles built. Now we can get rid of the helping connections that we did. And we're gonna have basically the first phase of the interchange completed. This was actually the hardest part. And as you can see, it already is starting to look like a real thing. So let's now continue. So the easiest thing is to probably connect the entrances to the highways. Now, I'm probably not being very precise with my terminology here, but I'm going to show you what I'm doing and it's going to be very apparent. Now here I could use just a straight road, for example, like this. It's going to give me almost 35 degrees. That's actually not a bad connection. Let's make it like that. I'm obviously going to upgrade these roads to highways later. So let's do it again for all the other connections. And this doesn't need to be straight. You can make it slightly curved, so it's looking a bit better, but this is fine. This is more than fine. All right, so that's all 4 of them. And now we need to make the entrances, or the exit lanes. Not sure how to call them precisely. So this is going to be slightly trickier because we are going to create basically this. And then we need to connect it and form like a split from this road. This road is obviously going to connect to that highway later. So we could make this slightly more precise, slightly more interesting. And this highway, this soon-to-be highway, we could make it parallel to that road. So let's, for example, do it like this. Now, I obviously want to have 90 degrees, so I'm going to hold Control, and Precision Engineering is going to give me 90 degrees. Let's destroy this helping road, and I'm probably going to use Move It after this is done, but it's all up to you, all up to your personal preference, how you would like to have the highways for yourself. Now, I'm going to create this highway roughly between those two. I'm going to try to create them, this highway parallel to those two, then connect them like this. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to use Move It later, but let's just do all the other connections and then we will start working with Move It. Let's go. All right, so basically we could just leave the intersection in this state and it would probably work because it is finished. Although obviously we are heavily overusing the road anarchy, so we need to move the highways to their correct heights. Also, we need to convert all these highways to their proper, or these roads we need to convert to the proper highway types. Now, for these connecting roads, because they are splitting into two, I'm going to use a 2-lane highway, obviously going the opposite way, just like this. And for the rest of the connections, I'm just going to use a 1-lane highway, the simplest one you can build. So let me just speed up the simulation a bit, or the video, so I'm not going to bore you with this too much. Alright, so that's all the roads converted to the highways. Now the reason I did not use the highways in the first place, why I used just the regular road, is because the snap tool, the road length snap tool, only works for roads that you can zone to. It doesn't work with highways. So that's why I only use the 2-lane road first, the cheapest road. I suppose I could use the gravel road as well, but the 2-lane road is fine, and then you're just going to convert it to the highway once it's finished. Now, what are we going to do now is pretty straightforward. We are just going to use the Move It mod and move the highways to their correct heights. So this is going to be slightly longer, so I'm just going to, again, speed up the video and do kind of a time-lapse thing. All right, let's go. Now in here I'm using the donut van because it's actually very high to see the correct clearance that I need to leave for the highway underneath it. Now this is something that can easily happen. We have a street lamp cutting through the road above it. I'm going to easily repair that by using actually yet another mod, or I could just use Move It. And I could do that easily by just moving this road so that we don't have the street lamp underneath it, just like this. All right, let's continue. Also, one other thing, as you can see, we have a node here, but it doesn't have a pillar. That is because if you are using the road anarchy and every time there is a collision, the pillar will not spawn. You can do this by then upgrading the roads so that actually it creates pillar, because you might build you might actually download the No Pillars mod, for example, and set it to no collisions. Or there's even the same or very similar functionality in the road anarchy by just unchecking this. You might then build the road again. I'm going to show you. Obviously, this is now not going to form the perfect circle. It's not going to be very precise, but I just toggled collisions and the pillar actually spawned. Now, just to make it pretty, I can move the node right between the highways so the pillar actually stays there like this. All right. Let's continue with the construction, with the height placements. Now, sometimes when you do these height corrections, the node that you want to move always wants to stay like water leveled, like completely straight. But you can just use Move It and kind of move it around a bit just like this. And as you can see, if I move it to that particular position, it kind of straightens out. So that's like a very small trick that you can use Move It for. All right, let's continue. Alright, so that is pretty much done. That is the correct heights. Let's unpause the game so we can see how the intersection performs, and I'm pretty sure it's doing all right. Now, there are some finishing touches that you may do, because now it's kind of looking a bit blocky, like a square. And that is because I decided to do these outer roads on the edge of the intersection, or interchange, sorry. I decided to make them straight, like this. But obviously you could do it slightly differently, but it's all up to you. Let me just show you how you could improve this. Alright, so what I did was just a very, very quick fix to this situation. I kind of tried to make these roads slightly curved to kind of break the box-like shape of the entire intersection. But I only, as I said, I only created them this straight so that I could, you know, build the intersection much faster. But obviously you can play with this a bit more and make it very, very nice for yourself. Now, also these kinds of like Y-shaped splits, you can also make them slightly better. You can just fiddle with the Move It mod by bringing these, you know, closer like this. Maybe even doing some changes like that, you know, and you can definitely make the entire thing much nicer. Obviously, it's better to just fiddle with this so that these two arrows are pointing into the other directions, different ways. Now, obviously, I made a mistake here because cars, for some reason, are, you know, slowing down here. So I'm just gonna have to fiddle with Move It some more so that I can, you know, create it better. As you can see, I think I probably did, because that car was going through this very fast. Yeah, these are as well. So you can just do these kinds of fine tunings with Move It for your particular intersection or interchange, sorry. But I think I showed you the very important part of the building process, and you can make it better by just experimenting for yourself. But this is the Turbine interchange. This is how you make one. I think it's very easy. Right now, it took me, I think, about half an hour actually, but obviously the video was, you know, sped up, so I could so I'm not going to bore you for that long. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. If I manage to forget some important detail about this building, then just let me know in the comments. But I think that is it. Yes, this is how you build a turbine highway interchange yourself. And with this tutorial, as I said, you're probably going to do it in like half an hour, maybe even less, because I'm obviously filming it and not focusing entirely on the making of the video. Anyway, that was it for today's video. I thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Hopefully it's going to go well for you. it's going to work and you are going to enjoy your Turbine interchange. As always, if you would like to see me live playing this city, building some more interchanges, then just check out my Twitch channel. Otherwise, stay tuned for more videos. Take care and goodbye.